Last summer, well, a year ago, Christmas, my wife, most of you know, had this loony idea to buy me a gift certificate to skydive. The macho thing, I'd always told her, I'd skydive. And then she gets me the certificate. Why are you getting me this? Who would want to do that? I have a certificate now. You can't waste good money. I got the certificate. It's got my name on it. So I dived out of the plane this summer. Longmont, take you up, you're now 17,000 feet above sea level, 12,000 feet above the ground. There's the picture. You're above the clouds. If you haven't ever jumped out of a plane, I wish I could describe for you the feeling. It is everything that you think it would be, meaning there comes a moment when that door opens and you are scooted because you're sitting like pony style over on a bench in this plane, and the person behind you just scoots you forward, and it's just like a conveyor belt. You're like, excuse me, and you're just getting closer to that door. And you get to that door, and I'm standing there for a minute. You have to make sure there's no buckles or straps that are around you. You don't want to jump and something tie you to the plane. And so my toes are literally dangling over the edge of the plane. My nose and my toes are out there, right? And it is everything that there's nothing between you and over 2 miles down, just straight down. Off you go. It's a great experience. But your heart it's a fearful moment. You're afraid. We don't survive that kind of stuff. You don't jump from 12,000 feet up without some sort of life-saving device and survive. I say you don't. There's the exception. The Juliana Diller story. Now, you young people don't know. It was before I was born as well. But 1971, Christmas Eve, Juliana's parents down in the Amazon are they're research scientists, and they've got a station down there. Christmas Eve, they're flying into one of their stations, and lightning strikes the plane on Christmas Eve, breaking the plane apart, plunging it into the Amazon. Juliana is still strapped to her seat, and the plane breaks apart, and she becomes a free fall. Just her and the 3 seats that she's sitting on. They were empty next to her. She was in the middle seat. She's now on a seat falling through the air, attached to nothing. At some point, the seat and her begin to twist and turn like a rotor, faster and faster, and soon she loses consciousness. She wakes up on Christmas morning in the jungle, alive, obviously. The sole survivor of having free fall, 2 miles, 10,000 feet through the air. They say the way that her seat landed in the jungles and the way the trees and the jungle foliage caught her, she survived with just a few injuries. Not to be gross, but they had to pull out other bodies that went head first, buried 3 feet deep into the ground. That's the exception. But you don't survive without being attached to something life-saving. And your heart won't. Your heart will not survive heartbreak. Your heart will not survive heartbreak unless it is attached to something life-saving. And now you know where we're going. Here's my appeal. A broken heart is beyond the reach of any medication, beyond the reach of any surgeon, beyond the reach of anything except for one. Let me take you there. It's our last passage here that we'll turn to. We're already in the Gospels. Go to Matthew chapter 11. Matthew chapter 11. Jesus. This is the only place in all four Gospels that Jesus describes his own heart. We've talked about this. Matthew chapter 11, verse 28. Come to me. Come, he begins with the imperative. You must come to me. What's the invitation? It's the same invitation that was given to me by my tandem skydiving partner when I dove from the plane. When we got in the plane and we were starting to say, he said, hey, you come to me, come here. And I sat right next to him. He strapped me in 4 points of clips, 2 up, 2 down. And then he cinched us in. And you're tight to each other. That's the invitation. Jesus is saying, hey, come strap yourself into me. Come to me. All you who are brokenhearted. It says weary or burdened. We're just going to put in brokenhearted. You who are brokenhearted, take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle. He's describing his heart, humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. Come to me. Come to me. Come to me. Let me cinch you in to my yoke. You will find rest. It will be a lifting experience. Rest in the midst of heartbreak. Rest in the midst of division, of rejection. Rest in the midst of tension. Rest in the midst of tragedy. What do you think Jesus is talking to? Those who've got it all together? Those who aren't hurting today? He's talking to you. The one with heartbreak. The one who's hurting. The one who's experienced loss or tragedy. He's saying, you come. You come to me. Let me cinch you in to my straps. My yoke was the language Jesus used for his time and place. I'll give you rest.